A lot of the timber I get is out of the woods, just fresh. This particular piece has been sitting up underneath my bench for around about 3 years. It's really dry. It has a lot of moss on the surface here, which means there's going to be a lot of spalting, and that gives it some character. So I'm going to put this onto the bandsaw, make it round, and let's see what we can get out of it. As you see, I've got it trapped between centres, and it's not perfectly round of course, but I'm going to make it round with the bowl gouge. Going to try and go for a live edge. It's going to be a very large bowl, but it's going to have that live edge behind. I doubt very much the bark's going to stay there. It's pretty well dry. It's going to fall off. But that's the goal for today. Stay with me, guys. Alright, we've got quite a bit of grain texture coming through here and some nice patterning going on. I do see a split occurring here on the outside. Just might fill that with a bit of CA glue. Over on the live edge side, which is pretty well as she was a few minutes ago. And I like this shape. It's kind of like a champagne glass shape. The bark does, of course, go all the way almost to the bottom of the bowl. You know what, I'm going to leave this as it is and just hollow it out. So why don't we talk step what it comes out at the end, but it'll certainly appeal to me. I'm going to keep this grain there as much as I possibly can. Okay, fairly pleased with the bowl. It's been turned around onto the chuck, and it's time to get this bowl hollowed out. Now you can see that the live edge creeps down to about 2/3 of the way of the bowl to the bottom. This is almost to the top. Same here on the 2/3. So it's kind of like well, it's looking to me like a champagne glass kind of shape. This is where that T-bone cross branch met with the main body of the bowl, or wood, although it's taken out of the woods. Grain structure here is extremely nice on the outside. So let's get turning on the inside and see what we've got. You never know until you start to go. So I had a few bad catches inside the bowl there, but nothing serious. The bowl gouge is turning on this acute angle to get the curvature inside the bowl without upsetting the live edge, which is in some places fairly thin. And of course this branch junction, I wanted to keep that, and that's overhanging. So when this comes swinging around on the bowl gouge, you've got to make sure you're not on this orientation or this, but on acute angle. It's very thin on this dip here, but that's okay. I'm going to try and get it a little bit deeper. It could go wrong. It might be successful, but we'll see. Now also, the live edge itself does need a bit of work. As you see, I'm going to use a wire brush just to take the moss off and leave as much of the bark as I possibly can. And I'm doing this right now so that when it gets a little thinner, it might bring the whole lot off. And I just want to leave some of this behind when I seal it. You know, I might probably use that 750 sealer that I generally like using with a UV light, just on the live edge, but the rest of it I will leave with just the natural pastes and oils that I use on most timbers. But if this is, I could use actually a poly spray too, which is something that will seal it. But the poly takes a good 6 to 8 hours to dry, so I'm a bit impatient. You know, it's coming up a treat. Probably wondering why I've got the bowl turned around. Well, the camera wasn't on at the time, but it flew off the lathe. Luckily, it stayed nearest to the truck and kept spinning around on its own axis. It's performed considerable damage on the bottom and on the inside of the bowl. These things happen. So you can see here that the actual tenon split, and that's what caused the whole thing to fly off. But I was going pretty aggressively inside to get the depth, so it isn't anything to do with the tenon or any of the equipment, it's the operator. And he needs to be chastised for that, because it was a bit of a rush job. Now I'm left with even more time consuming to get this repaired, and I think I'll still keep going with it, because yeah, it's looking good. So anyway, onwards. Going to sand this down to about 400 grit. Inside and the outside of the bowl now is pretty well stabilised. We've got a nice depth. All the catches and the grooves that occurred from the accident are all repaired. It's looking pretty good. So we'll get it sanded, and then we'll put a finishing coat on. Using the Clean Armour 757 gloss just to seal this loose bark. So we're going to coat all that with a small brush and apply the UV light and see how it comes out. So I'm going to use the frugal chuck to mount the bowl from the forward perspective, and having the foot presented for it to be turned off. Now, I generally put a shop towel inside the bowl to protect the surface, because this is pretty well finished on the inside. Placing that on top of the frugal chuck, then bring up the tailstock to clamp it tight against that chuck. So we get a nice, nice balance of the bowl onto the frugal chuck. I generally use Amazon Alexa to start it up. Alexa, turn on vacuum. As you see, that's pretty well on there anyway, but I use the tailstock just in most of the turning to hold it there tight. And it's turning pretty straight. All right, we'll get that foot right off. As I say, it's another project finished this week. This one has come out exceptionally well. The side profile, as you can see here, is kind of like a champagne glass, as I've been saying all the way through. I was heading towards it, wanting the live edge to be plentiful, and I certainly wanted that bark to remain. And as you see pretty well close up there, it is, and it's rock solid because I've used that Clean Armour gloss just to paint on the edge to stabilise that bark. It's not going anywhere, it's rock solid. So the bottom and the actual grain structure of this bowl is very, very nice. It's very pretty indeed. Got a little bit of a foot on there, the maker's badge sitting deep into the crevice, so it's not going to protrude on the bowl, and it's very stable on top of the tabletop. It was a pretty nasty job to get the inside convex like it is up against the wall, and as I said, the bowl came flying off the lathe and spun around the chuck for quite a while and took a few chunks out. You didn't see that happen on camera, which was a shame because it can be fun, but it didn't fly off and hit anyone in the head or any injury or anything to equipment, etc. It stuck on between the tailstock and the head, so it just spun around and took some chunks out. So the walls got a bit thinner, and it all turned out well in the end. So very nice piece, if I say so myself. Guys, thank you very much for watching this week. Next week got another thing coming up. Going up to the woods in the next day at across to see what I can find in the bush there. You guys watched that one with the Burl sitting on the maple tree, and got a nice bowl out of that one, so something similar for that. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. Cheers guys.